Welcome everybody. We've been hanging out here just randomly talking about browsers. Web browsers have been back in the news a lot lately because of the crap with Brave. And I'm not going to dive into that rabbit hole right now other than to say that there are a lot of really good reasons to reevaluate what browser you pick and what browser you use right now for web. And not to mention the fact if you're just coming to this for the first time, you might want to pick the best tool for your needs. And I really want to harp on this point. I'm not going to say names, but there are other people who produce videos who have no problem telling you what to do without considering your needs. And that really bothers me because it's more about finding the right tool for your job, not my job, not my preference. And that goes for everything. That goes for languages, it goes for distros, it goes for everything. So just keep that in mind. I put all caps you here because when you make these decisions, remember the people that are going to be flooding you with advice largely are going to be ego driven, and they're going to be giving you advice based on their experience for what they need. It's super important that you not only find the right tool for the job, but that you find the right tool for your job, what you want to do. Okay, so let's come back to this question of browsers. So suffice it to say, a lot of people have decided to let go of Brave, and that includes me. And I'm not going to really rant here. You can see other VODs of me ranting about it. I believe Brendan Eich personally crossed the line this time, and that he and his team have done too much. They've gone too far, and rather unapologetically, I'm going to say. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So I have decided to give up Brave, even though I think it's a fantastic browser. I love its privacy blocking. When it does it, otherwise it doesn't. I'm a little bit ashamed of the team. I also don't like the fact that it's focused on cryptocurrency, which I believe is a fail across the board. I think all cryptocurrency is a fail because of the 51% vulnerability, which nobody talks about. So for all of those reasons, I've decided to reconsider Brave and to start looking at the other browsers. And I got to tell you, I haven't looked at another web browser in a very long time. I've been using Brave very happily for years, since I actually had one of my own members kind of shaved me into looking at Brave. Because why aren't you using Brave? What Firefox, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into what Brave did. I'm going to let you do that research on your own. Otherwise, we'd be here for another hour. Okay, so I want to keep this video under hopefully 30 minutes. And I want to talk about some considerations about picking a web browser. And I'm going to include in the consideration text-based web browsers, which no one talks about. No one talks about it because, oh, that's just for old boomer people. No, it's not. And I'm going to show you how fast you can use your web browser and why you might consider using a text-based web browser. Or Suckless. Suckless is another one. There's a lot of really great web browsers, and I love that our chat is out there as usual, bringing out the edge cases so we can consider everything. So let's start with the major ones, and let's start with maybe some reasons that you might want to pick something. So let's do that. Let's go. I'm actually going to write a little thing while we do this because why not? So we'll take. I'm going to put it under Tools, Mac Directory Tools. I'm going to say browsers, okay, and I'm going to go put in tools, browsers, and we're going to do this together. If you don't mind, it sort of came on to us rather suddenly, so I'm going to go ahead and write it here. This is YAML, by the way. I'm doing some YAML markdown. Let's say web of browsers. Okay, so, all right, so there we go. I can't recommend text-based browser to normal people. Well, most people, they have to know how to use a terminal before they appreciate it. Okay, so we have different kind of browsers here, and let's go ahead and put a few together. What happened to Brave? I already talked about it. Brave did some really shady things, and I've decided to not use it anymore, and I'll let you do the research on that. So we're going to say Brave here. We're going to say Firefox. And we're going to, obviously we have to have Chrome in here. Chrome, you know what? I'm going to just do it as markdown for now. I probably will go back and do it as a list later. So we have Chrome, we have Chromium, Chromium. It's going to take a while. Hopefully I can keep it under an hour. Chromium. We have Edge. And we're not even going to list some of the stupid other ones. Somebody mentioned Vivaldi. Some people sometimes mention Opera. There's somebody even mentioned it just now. Opera. Gives a keyword to search for. Just search for Brave Scandal. So, Opera is good for VPN. Nice. Okay. I'm going to put links here. There's actually also another one called W3M. These are text-based browsers. I actually not a fan of W3M, but we'll talk about that. And that's probably all I really want to talk about right now. Safari, of course, we have to talk about Safari. Safari, unfortunately, we have to talk about it. And so let me get a little more room here so I can keep them all on here. So, Tor browser. No, Tor. That's actually another reason I really like Brave is it has Tor built in. I mean, fine, we can list it. But, I mean, I don't want to be... This is the thing about the discussion sessions like this, is that you should probably, keep your mind open and not be too critical early on. I learned this actually from Mr. Longquist. God bless you. He taught me in a really great class I had as a young kid how to lay out everything and evaluate it and not let anybody really start in the criticism phase, the evaluation phase, just to be creative, to get it all out there, and then come back, establish some criteria, and apply those criteria to everything. And then the floodgates come open. You can critique it and judge it however you want. We're not going to be able to do it that cleanly. And the Nix browser is rather interesting. Have not heard about that one. So, I mean, at this point, I'm kind of like, these are all section headings, but I mean, we'll keep it. I'm probably going to have to make individual knowledge node files for each one of these at some point. But for right now, I'll just go ahead and do that. Even Brave was open source. How did this get out of sight? Yeah. Okay. Brave is here for sure. All right. So let's dive in. So, and I kind of want to talk about the criteria too. Let's do that. Criteria. So, the criteria for a website. So, safety, of course, that doesn't mean privacy, right? Privacy is different. There's safety, there's privacy, there's open source considerations. What else? I mean, we have efficiency, we have speed, we have developer tools, which is a big one for me. That's why I picked Chromium for a long time. I'm just gonna put developer, developer considerations. We put speed there. Safety, privacy, open source. I'm just gonna put open instead of open. Speed, developer. Scandals. Because there have been scandals. Actively developed, active, okay. Active. It's almost like relevance, I guess. So that's kind of it. I suppose adoption, how, adoption is a thing. How many people have already started using it? So this is the e-channel now. It could be cross-platform. That's a good one. Cross-platform. I kind of want to put ubiquity for that. Cross-platform. I'm trying to stick with one word. Brave got adapted quickly. Yes, pipeline friendly. Pipeline friendly. That's interesting. Command line usage. We should probably put power in here. And let's see, power, developer scandals, adoption, cross-platform, extensions. Yeah, extensions. Features. Yeah, yep. Is that power is like what you can do. Features is kind of a thing. It's kind of broad, but yeah. Portable. Let's do that. portable, ubiquitous, those kind of things. I'm going to say terminal because I think terminal is a criteria. If that's all you have, right? Intrigues, investigations, configurability. Yes. Would that be under extensions? No, that would be under configurability or customization, I guess. Customization. All right. So anyway, so I don't want to go too crazy. How heavy is it on computer usage? Yes. Oh gosh, where is that? Resource intense. Resources. Resource. So does it use a lot of resources, RAM crunch, and all that jazz? So that's a really good one. I'm glad we had that one in there. And we could probably, the way you normally do this is you rank your criteria. Let's do that just by putting them in order. So I would say, see, this is the problem. See, everybody, and this is where the question of you comes in. Which of these criteria do you weight more than someone else? So this is why I can't actually weight this right now. Because why? You guys all know what I weight the very biggest of all. Terminal safety, privacy, and speed. That's it. If I make that decision, there's only one choice. Links. So it's important that everybody here know that you can make your own, some people weigh customization. So the point I'm trying to make is you weigh the criteria yourself, okay? But let's actually go ahead and keep this up, and I'll actually keep this open on a different pane, and I'll come over here and we'll start to, we can go ahead and weigh each one and discuss each one in that matter. We won't necessarily have to rank it, but we could, we could go ahead and rank it, make our own sort of breakdown of these things. And you're the ones who can do that yourself. You can make a little, some way to do that you want to do, little, matrix or something. If you want, or we can just talk about it. So let's do this. Browsers. All right. So go back down to the browsers and let's start talking about them. So, Chrome, we all know Chrome is the number one browser in the world, biggest browser adoption of all. You have to develop for it if you're going to. Owned and operated by Google. Does stuff nobody knows. No one can actually know because it's all hidden. Demands trusting Google to do the right thing. That's pretty much it, right? I don't think there's any complaint in this group. Oh, nice. I don't think there's anybody here who would pick Google as their first pick. Most of the people that watch this stream are free and open source kind of people, and they actually care about privacy issues and stuff that Google has continually proven that they don't care about. So, by their actions, not by their words. And so I don't think Chrome's even worth talking about. So let's get to the ones that actually matter to us a little bit more. There are a lot of people out there who might not be Linux people who will immediately pick Chrome. It's like if you're a web developer, they're the ones who pick Chrome right away. Why? Because it's got hands down the most powerful dev tools on the planet. Basically, this one is like they're continually innovating for the web, and they have the hands down the best developer tools of all. And I'm going to put particularly service workers. Okay, their service worker support is overwhelmingly dominant in the industry. And if you've done any service worker development, you'll know that. I have W3M on here. We have that already. Hey, thanks for the sub, guys. Most of the users on Chrome, so got to test it here. Yeah, so yeah, you need to test on it. Okay. So it runs on everything pretty much. I mean, really runs on everything, but in different levels, but different levels. So it's different levels of implementation. Like on mobile, it sucks, by the way. Chrome on mobile is horrible. On my iPad, and my Chroma is way bad. It doesn't even do standards, HTML standards properly. It's just coming to Linux. Maybe they will enable hardware video decode. That would be a thing. Oh, let's do that. Let's do media support, right? So that's actually a really big one. No. Oh, that's right. I can't do that. I need to do it over here. I'm editing the same file from two places. Okay, so media. Does it have? I mean, that's a big issue when you're picking a browser. If I can't watch Mr. Robot on my browser, I don't want to use it. I don't care how cool it is and good it is. So all the iOS browsers must use Apple WebKit. Do you mean another Chromium-based browser? Pale Moon, hadn't heard of that one. Is that a browser? Pale Moon, let's put that one out there. And Mobile Chrome, and it shows. Okay. Yeah. So Chromium, Crisis Cat. So we might actually be able to get to all these browsers today. The main priority of this particular video is picking a browser. So we're going to pick two browsers. We're going to pick one for the command line, which we'll talk about at the end, and a graphic browser, a graphic web browser that is an alternative to Brave right now. And okay, so Chromium, long-standing is like it's like the long-standing FOSS replacement for Chrome, indirectly controlled by Google. And that's true to say that. Not kept as up to date, not kept as current as Chrome. However, it really isn't. It really isn't. Because of my CLI experience. I say, okay, base of most modern tech browsers. That's good. Base of most modern tech browsers, including Chrome, Edge, which is a big deal. That was a really monstrous change. Is also used by CEF. Who is CEF? The Russian Federation. What is the CEF? Better leave management. The CF trades like a stock. CF. What is the CF? Cisco Express Forwarding. Ungoogled Chromium does exist. It does exist. Chromium embedded framework. Used to embed Chromium in applications. Ooh, let's talk about that. So, embedded. Is it not true to say that Chromium is embedded in Electron? That's a big thing, right? Is that fair to say, or is it the CEF that's used? Is Chromium the CEF that's used for Electron? How does that work? Which one is it, guys? Do you guys know? I've heard over and over again that Chromium is embedded in Electron, and I haven't been able to personally confirm that. I've made Electron apps. I just haven't. Has Chromium and not the other way around. Yeah. Embedded in Electron. So how's that typing game called? The channel. Anyway. So, Pale Moon, we're going to skip that. I'm going to put Brave back on the top here. I'm going to stick with the big boys or girls, however you want to look at it. Firefox. We'll put Firefox above Brave right now. This is kind of already a pre-sorting of things. Safari, you cannot escape. Sorry, you just can't escape Safari despite its ancient standards. NitroType is the best game. There's a couple of them, but there's another. Typing.io is for coders. Ztype, zty.pe, I think it is. Ztype. Safari uses WebKit. It's not ancient. It actually is, because it doesn't have full support for service workers. Still doesn't have full support for service workers. But WebKit is a big thing. There's no doubt about that. In fact, Safari, I think you could make the case that Safari WebKit came and pushed forward the others, right? So WebKit became the standard large. I think Safari was using WebKit way before anything else was. This is Linux, use GNU Typist. I didn't know that was a thing. Thank you for that. All right, so Firefox. So let's talk about Firefox. So written in Rust for whatever that's worth. In fact, Mozilla is a big backer of Rust. They're like a huge backer of Rust. And so I know that's not probably the first thing people think about, but I really think like that. Yeah, you can actually boot up a DOS boxes from teachers. All right, so let's stick on the topic, people. So the web browser, so Firefox, it has it's got passable developer tools. Once had best. So once upon a time, it had the best developer tools. The claim, okay, so I'm gonna tank that claim for a bit. Mozilla claims not for profit. But go look at their balance sheet. Go look at how much money comes into that organization. Yeah, Firefox, yeah, the Mr. Robot scandal violated a massive ethics violation. Massive ethics violation to promote Mr. Robot. I don't know if they're ever going to recover from that scandal. It permanently destroyed their high ground for anything that they've ever claimed since then. And not to mention the fact, I actually had personal interactions with some people from the Mozilla developer team who took it upon themselves to personally attack me and to go after any forum posts that I was in because I dared to question that Mozilla was in the right on that stuff. And I got to tell you, my personal interactions with specific people who worked on the Mozilla developer team have caused me to never recommend or consider working for Mozilla ever. The culture in Mozilla, at the Mozilla company, based on my interactions with 2 or 3 people, which I know is not the kind of way you should make a judgment about in a whole organization. It's got thousands of people all over the world. But my interactions with those specific individuals were so overwhelmingly bad that I don't want anything to do with that organization. And I'm just going to say that, I'm just going to say bad run-ins with specific bad apples. My wife and I have been talking, and stepson have been talking about people saying, "Oh, it's just bad apples." You guys keep forgetting the saying. The saying is, a few bad apples spoil the bunch. Everyone loves to chop that off the end. So it's not okay to have a few bad apples. Why? Because if you have a few bad apples, eventually it spoils the whole bunch. So as you identify bad apples in the world, and right now there's a lot of them coming out of the woodwork, I would say kind of, so there have been bad apples. Brave has bad apples too. Bad, unapologetic bad apples. Apologetic bad apples. Okay, then we've also had, including the CEO or the president, based big affiliate relationships with crypto companies, which, if you think about that statement all by itself, if you have an affiliate relationship with a crypto company, all of a sudden, right away, yeah, if you had if someone met you on the street, or, not now, but, you're going to run into somebody and you found out that they had multiple professional affiliations with different cryptocurrencies and that they had actually changed the URLs of people browsing those things just so that they would get credit and be paid for it. Would you talk to them again? I wouldn't. I would be like, "No, I'm sorry. There's lots. You're not you're probably a great person. I just don't want to talk to you anymore. I definitely don't want to go get a drink with you anymore. If you think that's okay, then we're not going to hang out." And so, you know what I mean? It's like, doubled down on nothing wrong with changing URLs. So they actually hid the default behind unclear language. Did you see that? Did you see how they wrote it? They wrote it like, allow Brave to customize your URLs. That's what they said. They said, I'm going to actually put that there. They said, allow Brave to customize URLs with no explanation. If they had written, seriously, if they had straight up written, we are changing your URLs to provide credit and affiliation so that we can be paid. If they had come forward and told you that that's what it was going to do, there's not a lot of potential in blockchain technology. I disagree strongly with that. I think blockchain technology is overwhelmingly a fail based on the math underneath it, which doesn't account for the 51% attack. And, you guys can fight me on that. What's another fight on another day? I think I like the promise of blockchain technology, but blockchain technology has overwhelmingly proven that the math underneath it is failing. It's really bad. It's already been taken control of several times. Anything that's depending on blockchain. So if you think that no one's ever going to have 51%, you're extremely naive, and you need to look at the math and understand why governments are buying up all of this stuff so they can control blockchain, any blockchain technology. Private blockchain, maybe. If you have, okay, so let's put it this way. If you can guarantee that nobody participating in the blockchain's exchanges can ever have 51%, which you cannot do with Bitcoin and all this other stuff that's out there in the public, then perhaps yes. But you can't just say, hey, it's a trustless situation. So we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, blockchain as a service. If you can do that, then yeah, it's just. But at that point, it's just another HTTP protocol. I mean, it's just another security-based protocol. Proof of work is interesting. Yeah, it is. I mean, those things are all interesting technologies. They're just being deployed in a massive scale, saying, oh, no one will ever crack this, and that's a majorly dangerous thing. Yeah. So anyway. And a potential 51% attackers would be able to prevent neutral attacks from gaining confirmations. The halt payments, yes, this would also be able to reverse transactions. Thank you for explaining, student doctor. Yeah, so I just do not want anyone. We got, there's kind of a sidetrack. It's important we talk about it though, because Brave has bet the farm on blockchain. They have this. I mean, you know what I really love about Brave though? First of all, I love that Brave absolutely starts from default of no privacy tracking. That is my favorite thing of all. Firefox doesn't even do that. And it starts from the default of no privacy tracking or ads. And that's super cool. Another thing that I really like about Brave is it promotes direct compensation for value of websites. I love that. I love being able, it's like the whole Proton, or there's no centralized entity. Of course there kind of is, but the idea is that anybody browsing the web can just thank a person by paying them, rather than, looking up their Patreon and all that stuff, or actually having, people putting ads out there. And I like that Brave didn't just complain. They thought about an alternative to advertising, which is destroying the web, hands down. It's causing people to not link out because they want more SEO so they can get more hits and more links and more money. And that's destroying the web. Everybody knows that. But this is at least an attempt to create a solution. So we need to give them credit for that. The problem is they can't pay the bills. So then they start all these affiliate things and everything, and they can't make any money. How is Brave going to make money? What is their value proposition for making money? Private Summit trying to get an alternative computer. Yeah. Many sites just link PayPal for donations. Right. So the idea of having a web browser that lets people securely click on a button and say, you know what, I'm really happy and I'm glad, because you know what, if it's any harder than that, no one's going to do it. No one's going to do that. They're not going to click on the PayPal and type in all their information and stuff. But if I could just go, you know how like mentality, if we could apply like mentality to a website so that you could just like it or upvote it or give it 20 or bits, basically like we do with Twitch bits, right? If we were able to just pay some bits to a website, I mean, I would love that because my website is totally unmarketed and unadvertised. And yeah, there's a computer on VPN on Brave. Yeah, dude, I totally would do that. So this is the moral dilemma for me and a lot of other people. I really want them to succeed with that approach, but not at the price of illegal violations of privacy based on affiliation links. Those were illegal. So yeah, illegal, bugs, changing URLs to get money through affiliation. That's kind of shady. I mean, that's not just kind of shady. Yeah, but see, Patreon, if you put Patreon on it, the problem with Patreon is you have to like sign up and have an account and everything. And the fact of the matter is you can't get away from that in anything. What would be great is if there were an alternative that was actually sustainable, that we could actually use Bitcoin. I mean, I love the dream of Bitcoin. Believe me, I love the dream of Bitcoin. I just think that the practical application of it isn't there. And it's really too bad because too many people are focused on blockchain technology instead of looking at alternative technologies that could be built on top of the idea and rectify the ideas about the 51% attack and things like that so that people could actually use it. Anyway, I have not seen this hijacking. Oh yeah, it's all over the news right now. I'm not going to go pull that up. They've been, yeah, that is the current news right now. It's the reason we're having this conversation, because I dropped Brave because I was like, no, I was very cynical. A few people were asking me, some very proactive people in the chat, like, are you going to stay with Brave? I mean, after all this, because they see me use Brave all the time. I was like, what are you talking about? No, I actually even posted a thing in Twitter, defending Brave, saying, hey, you remember when Firefox allowed everybody to steal your private information through Twitter? And then everybody was like, that wasn't Brave. I mean, that wasn't Firefox. That was Twitter. And because I was trying to defend Brave, saying, hey, look, everybody has a scandal. It's time for us to just pick the least worst of them all. And replacing ads was a criticism from early on. Yeah. Bravo, open source browser caught adding referral codes. There you go. So I'm really conflicted now because when Mozilla did that Mr. Robot scam, I mean, that wasn't just changing affiliate links. I mean, so let's look at this. Let's assume that the scandal with Mozilla and Firefox for Mr. Robot was in the best interest of the world. They liked Mr. Robot and they wanted to promote kind of CTF hacker games in the world from kind of an educational perspective, actually. And so they allowed themselves to lower their standards and install, essentially, I don't even know what to call it. They installed stuff on people's computers that allowed you to hack yourself. And I don't know, but I think it was also to allow remote people to hack into you too, to play this game. And the motivation for the game, they claimed, was, oh, we just want to promote this thing. But it was really clear that money had exchanged hands, and Mr. Robot, which was doing lots of really amazing Easter eggs. Oh my God. Season 2, people slam Season 2 all the time for Mr. Robot. They have no idea how many Easter eggs and stuff that they paid for in that season to put all throughout the world. And if you want to watch the YouTube videos on that, it's pretty amazing. Make sure you don't watch it if you don't want to get spoiled. But so it was like this big, massive treasure hunt, and Mr. Robot and Mozilla said, hey, I want to be a part of that. And so they became a part of this big, massive treasure hunt. Probably also got a donation from, I don't know, I'm almost positive they did though, but they got a donation from the Mr. Robot, group, and it blew up. It blew up because they were violating our privacy for the sake of a corporate interest, and it just destroyed trust in the browser. That was trying to, not Google trust and security. And that really just made everybody go, what? I mean, we're like, what? So, Brave decided to start. I mean, apparently Brave's been doing this for a long time, and I had no idea. I love Sam Smith. He's one of my favorite human beings on planet Earth. So don't say anything bad about him. he might have done some bad things. I don't want to know. I just love him. I love his director ability. I love his writing. I love everything about the guy. So don't mess with my Sam. So I worry that the usage of the term ad here makes it sound more nefarious than it actually is when it comes to appending referral codes. That's true. Did I use ad here someplace? I may have said ad. I didn't put it in our little list here, but you're right. I mean, it was never an ad. It was an affiliation link. So everybody, just to be clear, apparently Brave for a long time has been changing the URLs you type in or that you visit when you go to something that gives them credit in order for Brave, as the organization that runs Brave, to receive credit and thereby money by showing that their web browser was the one that was visiting you. And they actually change the URLs that are in the source code and that you type in to what they want. And they have a setting that's called customize, allow Brave to customize URLs. That has been the default that has been on for a very long time. And only now they're decided to, they got caught. And so now they're like stepping all over themselves. And in the worst case, they stepped on themselves. They actually started attacking the guy who brought this problem to light on the blog, and they started personally attacking him, saying that he was regularly a troublemaker, blah blah blah. And that's why I think so. Mozilla, on the other hand, so let's talk about how Mozilla handled the Mr. Robot issue. They handled the Mr. Robot issue, and they were kind of sad and surprised by it. They were like, we thought this would be a fun way to promote, thing, and we can make some money. It was like a win-win for everybody. We're really, really sorry we did it. We'll never, ever, ever do it again. And they haven't. And, so as far as we know, they haven't. And I think they got burned so bad by it that they won't ever do that again. Meanwhile, Brave has apologized so many times at this point for the same thing they keep doing over and over again that people are just done. They're like, you keep saying one thing and doing another. Meanwhile, Mozilla said, you know what, we didn't really kind of assess the implications of the Mr. Robot thing. It was a new area for us. We realized we violated everybody's trust, and we're really, really super sorry, and we're never going to do it again. But did you like the Mr. Robot series? Because we love it. And, and who doesn't like Mr. Robot? So, I don't know. I mean, it makes me, to make your own browser was with Dino. Maybe. How's it going, guys? You created content, put your ads, then Brave blocks your revenue to put their crypto cash back to your viewers. Right. And that basically they're saying that they want to take over the ads with their own ads. And that, I don't know how I feel about that. That is a really, what's important. I mean, we're talking about browsers, so let's keep talking about that, even if we're long, I know. You can, but yeah. So, rare Easter egg backfire. Brave does stuff then fixes it later. Don't ask for permission. Yeah. Mozilla screwed up by including the functionality in the plugin for access side effects outside the specific Mr. Robot one, even though that functionality was stable. Oh, we're talking about that's the Twitter one, right? Yeah, and that was an accident, and they fixed it. In every case, the Brave has been caught making a mistake. That Firefox has been caught making a mistake. It seems to me like they fix it and move on, and they're thankful. They don't fight back and say that's not our problem, that you suck, and by the way, who brought up that information? Because they watch that person who wrote about this, because they're not trustworthy. You might want to watch that person. They're a troublemaker. That was Brave's response. Mozilla's like, oh God, we're really sorry, we didn't know, and you really sort of do this. And so despite my individual interactions with specific people at the Mozilla organization who were just assholes, that is the overall response from Mozilla about the whole thing. So, so classic reader should go into politics. It is a moral dilemma. I stopped using Brave. Yeah, a lot of people have. This is kind of what we're talking about here. So let's wrap up this conversation. This really is more of a conversation about whether to pick Mozilla or Brave, Firefox or Chrome and Chromium. And there are lots of other browsers out here, so you can continue to evaluate the rest of the browsers on your own. Even the Mozilla, Mozilla will screw up too. So, it really just depends on how much you trust the organization, and and their goals and motivation. And then it's a stated goal from Brave. I didn't even know the level that Brave was taking over ads, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not against them. If you say I want to see ads and I want to build credit, the ads that you show me, I mean, I do like that Brave is putting this choice into your hands. It just seems to me like this last situation was less in your hands because it was a default. I like the fact that they give you the ability to make the choice, though. I still use Brave since it seems faster in Chrome. Cool features like ad blocker. We'll see. Those are the two reasons that the main reason that I use Brave, besides all the other feature stuff and the fact that it has Chromium built in, is that it has Tor built in. So if you want to browse a deep web and just want to go see a URL or something, you don't have to change your browsers out. You don't have to fire up Tor, which is horrible. I mean, it's not a good browser. So you can still use all of your Brave browser to browse both webs. And I love that. I mean, I just loved it because there's more and more, actually, particularly in cybersecurity, there is a lot more really good stuff on the deep web and the dark web if you want. But there's some really great YouTubers that talk about the myth of the dark web and red rooms and things like that. I forget his name, but there's a really great YouTuber who just totally debunks all that stuff. You should probably watch him if I can find him. But the deep web, including the intellectual deep web, which you can probably imagine I'm interested in, is where people are talking about things and ideas freely. And so having a browser that allows you to look for those things and not have to have another browser just to do that is kind of nice. In fact, they can even link and the browser can open up. You don't have to open up in a separate browser. Tor browser is made to look the same and not stand out. Right. So that's a reason that I really like Brave. A lot of security people like Brave because of that as well. Security people, for some reason, also tend to be crypto people. Not always. So whatever. And anything good with the deep web minus illegal stuff. Yeah, there's stuff on there. Most of it, the stuff that I like is usually the forum conversations. So like, I don't have any specifically that I can recommend to you, nor would I on a public chat. But it's, they call that intellectual deep web. And so, yeah, there's reasons to be on the deep web. In fact, there's a lot of really interesting content on there that's not anything like what's portrayed in any kind of fictional portrayal. And I forget it, the YouTuber, but go search for, is the dark web really that bad or something? There's a YouTuber, I forget his name, it's driving me crazy, but that's his main thing, is he actually browses it and he talks about how it's not all this scary thing that everybody keeps making it out to be. Anyway, so someone has to earn the money. How do you earn the money, right? And in the old days, you had web browsers that were free. They were produced by, was it NCSA Mozilla, which was created by, a science organization that was controlled by the government. So do you want your government making your web browser, or do you want Google making the web browser? Mosaic, yep. Or do you want, sorry, I said it wrong, NCSA Mosaic, which is still out there, by the way. You can still use that web browser. Or do you use Safari? So I think we've made a choice. Sometimes Safari, you have to use it. Sometimes you are required to use it. And I'm going to wrap up this conversation about, I don't really think we need to go through every web browser right now. I think you have some criteria. You can make the selections for yourself. You can weigh the browsers against each other. You have a really good list of all the browsers that are out there. But as I conclude this particular video and go take a break before we do something else, I'm going to tell you the browsers that I use and why I use them. And so the first browser I use, you see me use it all the time. It's like, should I stop using Brave? So as you can see from the command line, I can put a question mark in, which is aliased to a DuckDuckGo URL. And let me just show you that. So here's this tiny little script that calls DuckDuckGo. It calls DuckDuckGo and it calls the links browser. And so by using the links browser, I can do very, very fast searching. I use Brave browser. And I mean, you see me do this on the stream all the time. I can look things up in milliseconds that most graphic user would take them a minute to find it. And because a text-based browser such as Lynx, which is the first web browser ever made, by the way, because it eliminates the need for JavaScript to even run, and for any images to show, it actually is able to navigate much faster. So you can, as you can see, you have to get used to looking at them. There's lots of weird things that are not going to work. Anything that's behind. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't work these days. This is a Vivaldi thing. But as you can see, if you get good at browsing with it, the reason I like it, even over W3M, which is another one that tries to show you your pictures, is that my eyes can glaze over the text and I can scan really quickly. And so I'm able to, and I'm doing this whole thing with one hand, by the way. So, I don't need a mouse. I can go, here's the fact. Oh, forbidden. Can't see that. This is the downside of using a text-based browser, is some people are stupid and they think text-based browsing is insecure for some reason. And there's other people that just completely don't let you see their documentation unless you have JavaScript, which is a total ethics violation, if you ask me. So if you want to test accessibility links for people who are blind versus getting sued and losing like Pizza Hut did, thank God Pizza Hut lost that lawsuit. So there you go. And this is, hey, we can even look at Brave. See, Brave doesn't like links. Another reason not to use Brave. I just solidified my decision. The fact that I can't even see Brave's site using the Lynx browser. Brave, yeah, you know what to do. Nobody's ever going to use you again after that. I tell you what, you want to get on my shit list, literally? I'm going to show you my shit list. You want to get on my shit list? Okay, I know I'm going to be in trouble. Here comes an F word. So seriously, there's a lot of F-bombs coming up, but avert your eyes, people, if you don't want to see them. So this is my website. Some shameful shit. So this is like all the people who depend on JavaScript to be able to see. This is what you see from some of these sites, including pre-render, a site you pay for, a service you pay for to help your site be visible, even though you use JavaScript for everything. If you really want to trigger Mr. Rob, make a website that can't be read by anything but something that has JavaScript enabled, which is what Brave apparently has done. And I am so happy. It's kind of like bad karma that I would find this at the same time. So this is it. This is like, there you go. There's your 403 forbidden from an Nginx thing. There's no reason for this, for Brave.com to be blocked to the Lynx browser. You know what's going to be even better? Watch me open up the Firefox. You guys watch Firefox web browser. All right. Okay. So here we go. Opera. Let's see. Oh, no. Refresh. All right, let's try this one. Mozilla. So Mozilla, yeah, and red time. No, I'm just looking, guys. So look at this. This is Mozilla. You know why? Okay, and I'm going to put this in a list, guys. I'm going to put this in a list. And this, I forgot about this, and it's the single most important thing. Firefox is obsessed with web standards. And if I didn't need any other reason, that is it. Because they're so obsessed with web standards, they don't do dumb shit like make their site a forbidden link because I'm using links. All right? I mean, seriously. The MDM documents are there. So I'm actually, it's ironic because 2 years ago, I was a big Firefox user. And I actually had somebody coming to SkillStack say, hey, why aren't you using Brave? Brave is the only true web browser, blah, blah, blah. And I heard him out. And he made a lot of good cases about the privacy thing and everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. So I tried it, and I got converted over to Brave, and I used it because it was Chromium based and everything. So I used that for a very long time. But before that time, I was like, for a year and a half, 2 years, I was teaching everybody to use Firefox. And there's another flip-flop. I'm back to using Firefox. I now have a lot of solid reasons that I find convincing reasons and criteria to use it. And as we wrap up this video today, and I'm going to go take a break, but as we wrap up this video, once again, remember, pick the browser for you that works for you and your needs and your values and your ethics. And if you're like a raving capitalist who's promoting marketing every possible place you want to, Chrome is your baby, Microsoft Edge. But if you actually are interested in security and privacy, and for me, everybody knows I am obsessed with web standards, and so that just convinced me even more to use Firefox. So I'm not going to tell you to use Firefox, but I'm going to go ahead and turn to Firefox myself. And it means I'm going to have to, get used to some of the things that it doesn't have that are kind of nice that Chromium does have. But that's my personal decision. If you have the same values as me, then yeah, I recommend it. Otherwise, make your own decisions, people, and don't let anybody on YouTube tell you what to do. Just take in their information, just like anybody else, and make your own decisions. It's been really great. I'm going to go take a break. I will turn the fish on for you, and I'm gonna leave you now. But before I turn the fish on, I need to make a little Twitch mark so I know where we ended. Twitch mark, and let's see, end browsers. All right, so there you go. I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Bye.